Everybody, it's David Morgan, Arlington's Environmental Planner and Conservation Agent. The November 20th, 2025 public meeting of the Arlington Conservation Commission will be conducted in a remote format, consistent with an act extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, which further extends certain COVID-19 measures regarding remote participation in meetings till June 30th of 2027. This meeting is being recorded and the recording may be made publicly available. I'm putting a link in the chat now to where you can find all of the meeting materials. Please note that the Zoom chat feature may be used for questions and comments that contribute to the Commission's procedures, and if it's used otherwise, may be disabled at the Chair's discretion. Public comment period will follow each hearing. The Commission encourages attendees to ask questions and offer comments during the public comment period. Chuck Troney is our Commission Chair. He'll facilitate tonight's meeting, and each vote we take is conducted with a roll call vote. We always start with agenda review and attendance, so I pass it to Chuck for that.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. 7:02. So the minutes for the agenda for Thursday, November 20th. Administrative, talk about the minutes, correspondence, and then an update and vote on a letter of support. Enforcement 6666R Dudley Street and 993 Mass Ave. Our liaisons reports, and we will continue discussion on 40 Park Ave. And with that, I'm not sure if everyone's here for 40 Park Ave, but I thought it would be a good idea, and at David's suggestion, that we bring this up to the top of the agenda, because the rest of our agenda is not as exciting. So if who's here from VHB? Is it Nick? Yeah. So do you have any objection of us taking this first?
No objection whatsoever.
Sure. Okay. So I'll start, and David will just move right into it. So we're going to move up our first hearing. It's 40 Park Ave, DEP file number 910372, continuation of 40 Park Ave. The Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing to consider the notice of intent to repair a loading dock at 40 Park Ave in Arlington. Areas proposed to be altered include the riverfront area and the buffer zone to the adjacent upland resource area associated with Bank to Millbrook. And with that,
Chuck, you forgot to take attendance. Do you want to just do that before we open the hearing?
that might be a good idea. Yeah, so let's
Okay.
stop right here and take attendance. Let's go with Mike Gildersgame.
I am present.
Nathaniel Stevens.
Present.
Susan Chapnick.
Here.
David White.
Here.
Brian McBride.
Here.
Chuck Troney's here, and David Kaplan is absent tonight. Associates members Sarah Alfaro Franco.
Present.
And Eileen Coleman.
Here.
Okay. And with that, we'll just move right back to 40 Park Ave without any other objections. Nick, do you want to just update us on the information that we received in between the two meetings?
Yeah, so I believe last time there was two questions, and again, thanks for putting us to the top here. One was we were still waiting for the stormwater permit from engineering department. Over the last week, we've sort of finalized everything with them. I forwarded David the stormwater permit, so they had no objections to what was discussed last time. All good with that. There was a couple minor conditions, which I think is standard for the stormwater permit. But we've submitted that and everything's good there. The other piece was we had talked about landscaping the area sort of that we had shaded previously that we were showing as loam and seed. So we went back internally to our landscape group submitted a landscape plan. If you don't mind, I can share that for the commission as well. And apologies, I'm not the best with trees and shrubs, but I will do my best from them. So the area in green, they've added the different species here. Again, they wanted to make it somewhat dense, so there was a question about invasive species, and they wanted to plant this to limit the sort of future invasives that would potentially come here. So this was the plan that was submitted, and I think those were the sort of the two open items. So happy to talk through any questions you guys may have, and I know Rick Valarelli, the owner's representative, is also here as well.
Sure, thanks, Nick. Are there any questions from the Conservation Commission? Did everyone have a chance to review the information? And looking for comments or questions, I see Susan Chapnick has her hand up.
Thank you. Could you just put on the screen the list of the plants? I can't see them. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, I am pleased with the density of the plantings and the choice. I'd like David Morgan to weigh in because sometimes he's better at this than I am, but it looks like they are all natives to me, and it looks like a good choice of trees, shrubs, and seeds. Thank you.
I'll do a little work in the background, making sure that I have a good understanding of what's in the grassland mix. Looks like that's a MassDOT standard. So I'll look that up and weigh in a few minutes if that's all right.
Sounds good. Any other questions? That was it, Susan. So Mike Gilderscane.
Thank you. I apologize for missing the discussion last time, but I just wanted to find out more about the parking restrictions, the barrier that was supposed to be put up. I haven't seen if that's up or not.
Oh, hi, yeah, I can comment on that, Mike. I haven't put any barriers up. I lined some of the areas with cones until we're kind of done with this process. And then I was gonna go ahead and start taking action on different items.
What is the
Yeah.
parking barrier going to look like? What is the construction going to be?
So that's from the previous plan?
Right?
Is there not something specific spec that was agreed to prior? I'm sorry, I'm playing catch up a little bit on the prior plan.
Yeah, I don't recall what the specifics were for the restriction of cars accessing that area. I don't remember if it's going to be railings, metal railings, or fence or something. I don't know. Just wanted to double check.
Yeah, on the car bumpers, I mean, I don't know exactly where they were aligned in that previous plan. I can look at that in terms of how it relates to where we're at today. Some of those may not even be happening anymore because we have a driveway now going to a loading dock. But I would imagine down, I don't know, Nick, if you can, like down on the right in front of that area, exactly, Nick, we could put some car bumpers there, where people could still pull in and park. If you'd like me to pick a spec on what those bumpers are and send them over, that would be fine with me.
I think it would be helpful to know what the plan is. It may have been written up before, but I don't recall at this point.
Okay, I can check the previous one, and obviously if it was written up, we'll stick with that. If not, I'm happy to submit something.
Thank you.
Yep.
Susan Chapnick.
Sorry, I had an additional question because Mike just reminded me. We had asked at the previous meeting to get an overlay of the enforcement order actions over this new NOI on one plan. Is that shown on this plan, or is this just the planting plan?
So
Nick,
I believe we shared that last time. So
Okay.
what we did was originally, and I'll try to, the enforcement order was for this area here
Okay,
and for this area, oh boy, apologies. This area in here. So I will try to, we submitted that for the last hearing.
okay.
And I'd have to go back, and I don't know if David has that handy either. But we basically
No,
pulled
yeah, it's good
out.
to see where it is in relation to the new plantings, because
Yeah,
we know
so
those plantings were for the enforcement order. We
Correct.
didn't want to double count, so,
correct. Yep.
thank you.
So that was what we resubmitted to the engineering department, and we pulled our limit of work back outside of that enforcement order.
Great, okay. That sounds good. And I'm thinking, Mike, that there was some kind of, we recommended a barrier already, but now I don't have all we'd have to look back at the meeting minutes.
Right.
Okay,
I don't know if they were specific or not on.
yeah, maybe David Morgan knows. Thank you.
David, you have your hand up, Morgan?
Yeah, excuse me, I don't recall what was required offhand for the parking, but I can look at the enforcement order in a moment. I've raised my hand because I looked up the MassDOT standard, and it's excellent. The native short grassland mix is what's specified, and obviously there's about a half a dozen grasses and then twice as many herbaceous layer perennials, and they're all native. They're all native to New England, and I guess if you count New York as part of New England, we'll give them the pass for this one. I wonder two things. One, where do you get it?
I'm assuming if it's a MassDOT spec, it's readily available.
Just on like the
Their
like a
project.
combis kind of system.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I can follow up with you. I would love to take credit for this spec, but I cannot.
Fair enough.
So I can work with our landscape architect and give you a few places that we may
Yeah, I think we would recommend this and others in their spec sheet here time and again. So yeah, I would like to learn more if you're willing.
Sure.
Other question I had was, since the area where the restoration occurred for the enforcement order was just loaned, right? Or are you specifying now adding that native seed mix there as well?
We basically pulled all of this out. I guess, Rick, I'll pass that to you. Previously, there was no seed mix there. It was just the plantings. So if that's a request, I'm sure we can discuss it.
Yeah, I mean, I would make the recommendation because, as you said, you're concerned about invasives, and if you want to outcompete some of them and get ahead of the management on that, more density of plantings in this area would be very good. And I think this is such an excellent mix. You also get like the continuity of the landscape down to the bank. You can kind of look at a nice, consistent slope instead of like this awkward kind of arbitrary division that got set up because of permitting considerations.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Cool. I will look for the spec on the parking and stop talking.
All right, any other commissioners would like to discuss this permit? Oh, Ms. Daniel Stevens.
Thanks, Chuck. My vague recollection is maybe boulders were specs for the parking or parking barrier, or yeah, I think large boulders is what's coming to mind, because I recall that we didn't want them to pluck them from the pile of boulders to the east, but I'm also remembering that it could have been just a split rail fence or a sort of a parking barrier fence, wooden fence. So I look forward to seeing what David can find. I would think that it would have been in the enforcement order or even specified on the plan, but maybe not.
We
With the
certainly
apple.
started out with boulders. I remember that.
Okay.
David White,
I was going to suggest that the barrier be extended further towards the east, so that it covers the section of the bank beyond the planting area, within the property line, of course, because people are going to park on your land if they can.
so I think that's a good suggestion. I would have preferred to see that suggestion in meeting number 1. So I'll just leave it at that. We've come a long way to get to this point, but we can often certainly make a condition, David White, but also hear from Richard or Nick about extending out to the property line.
Yeah, I have absolutely no issue with that. I mean, it's kind of like whatever's practical, it makes sense. If that property line area starts to get too tight to the other cars that park up against the building, I don't know if I want to promote parking on the other side. But yeah, as far as we can, I totally agree with.
Mhm.
So is it going to be stones or the car bumpers in this area?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. What's your
My preference?
Yeah, what would
I,
you
I
like
don't
to?
honestly don't know if I have one. I mean, like the actual car bumpers might work better if I can fasten them down to the ground. But
Yeah, and you guys plow from what I remember. You're doing your own plowing, so we're not going to
yes,
find those in Millbrook in the spring.
that's true. So if you prefer boulders, that's fine with me.
I did find the spec, and it is boulders to be installed between the parking area and the planting area prior to planting to protect the restoration from vehicles. And we didn't specify a number or their exact placement, but sufficient number and size, of course, to prevent vehicles from entering that planted area. And I mean, once you get it planted, it will be more apparent that
Yeah.
one is not supposed to drive there. Still, boulders are necessary, but I think the combination of the two should, as long as they're placed close enough together, deter people from trying.
Boulders we have, so boulders it is.
Good.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none, anyone here who's attended tonight's hearing would like to say something regarding this project? Just raise your hand using the reaction buttons or just unmute and say something. All right, seeing none, Nick, yeah, thank you. Can I get a final word from anyone or motion?
I
Motion
have
to
a
close.
question. Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
I
no,
have
go
one
ahead.
question before you close.
Okay.
So this is the hearing for the NOI. We're not discussing the enforcement order or closing that out right now. Is that true?
Did you
So
say this is
they're two separate issues.
but you said
Cor-
this is for the notice of intent,
Okay.
not the
Enforcement order.
enforcement order, but
Which
we're
is still
closing that
open.
out. Okay.
We're closing out
Now I
the,
understand what you're saying. This has nothing to do with the enforcement order.
okay. I just wanted to make that clear that that's still open. This is the note for the notice of intent for the new work. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, because I think we had some monitoring requirements.
Yeah.
For the enforcement order.
Okay, any other comments or motions?
Motion to close the hearing.
Second?
Susan Chapnick seconds. Mike Gildersleeve,
Yes.
David White,
Yes.
Brian McBride,
Yes.
Nathaniel Stevens,
Yes.
Susan Chapnick,
Yes.
and Chuck Teroni says yes. Some of the conditions we have are boulders to demarcate the restoration area and the parking area. And then the seed mix will be cast over the, will also be cast over the enforcement order area. Any other conditions?
Just our standard conditions on planting, we require 3 years of monitoring.
3 years of monitoring is a
With
standard condition.
100% survival of trees and 80% survival of the rest of the vegetation.
Can you let us know if we'll be receiving a report each year with that standard condition?
Yes, you will be.
Okay. David, Susan, is that in our standard condition that we receive a report?
Yep,
Yeah, okay.
3-year monitoring period, annual
Okay,
reports.
so there you go. That's those are the conditions. Any other conditions?
Were there conditions in the stormwater permit from the town that we should be made aware of? I didn't see that permit. Do you know about that?
Well, our standard condition that you have to comply with all other permits would cover that. I'm not sure we need to repeat it, but
Okay,
I think it's covered that way. But
okay.
I can share that with you right now. There's 4 conditions. You want me to just share my screen again? So you
I
can
would like
see
to
them?
see them really
Sure.
quickly, just since we have time, but thank you. Oh, and they require all inspections that we require to be done. But that's good. Okay. So an as built. Okay. That looks fine. Thank you.
All right. Any further comments or motions?
motion to approve with the conditions discussed.
Oh, second.
Okay. And David White seconds. Mike Gilderscane,
Yes.
Susan Chapnick,
Yes.
Brian McBride,
Yes.
David White,
Yes.
Nathaniel Stevens,
Yes.
and Chuck Teroni says yes. All right, that's it. 21
Thank you.
days to issue. You can reach out to David if you have any questions about when that's going to be ready.
We'll get to work on it tomorrow.
All righty.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
All
Thank
right,
you
thank you.
for working
Thanks.
with us on this. Thank you.
Of course.
So we're going to jump right back to our posted agenda. First thing on the list would be discussion of and review of the meeting minutes for November 6th.
These were edited by Nathaniel and Susan. There are a number of edits, most are clarifications and additional wording. Talking about the forest management plan here, clarification, for example, about the timeline, the reason for extending it. Went into the discussion about the Arlington Catholic artificial turf field. Susan added a number of clarifying points here, largely kind of technical points, further specifying the components of the field and clarifying how those are typically described. The usual updates, there were no real edits to that section. The hearing we just closed, there was additional detail added here by Nathaniel talking about the restoration areas relative to the enforcement order and the permit, and then we adjourned 9:35.
All right, any additional comments from commissioners? If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
And a second,
Second,
David White. So Mike Gilderscame,
I'm gonna abstain since I missed most of the meeting.
Susan Chapnick,
I think she said yes. She's
he's
muted.
muted.
so, okay.
Sorry, I said yes.
Brian McBride,
I'm a yes.
okay. Nathaniel Stevens,
Yes.
and Chuck Teroni says yes.
And David White says yes.
You can abstain.
David, I thought I got you, David, sorry. David White says yes also. All right, that's it. Next, we usually have correspondence here, so correspondence received is available for the public. For a full list, contact the conservation agent, and he's provided a link to the meeting material, but there's also a link to reach out to David, and if you have any questions or concerns, reach out to David about correspondence.
Chuck, did you want to review the correspondence related to the Arlington Catholic turf field? If so, Nathaniel and I could also give an update. We did a little site visit today.
I would like to
Sure.
hear an update on the site visit.
Sure.
Thank you.
Let's keep
I would
this.
too.
Let's keep this as concise as possible.
I agree. So the correspondence was that Brian McBride pointed out to us that rather than filter fabric, the installers had used painter's tape to cover the drains that we requested be protected as part of the enforcement order. And Nathaniel and I went out today principally to check on the condition of the tape and see what the status of the project was overall. And as it happened, they were loading up the rolls of old turf to take away as we arrived. So got to witness some of that process, and we walked the perimeter of the field, took some photos, and Nathaniel said he might be able to share those if you have
Oh,
any.
David, I did send them. You should have gotten an airdrop link, but if it didn't come through,
That's
I
okay.
can try
I'll
another way.
check it out.
Thanks.
What we observed was that most of the infill, I mean, nearly all of the infill is staying on the site. It's, I didn't get it, Nathaniel, sorry.
Okay. Oh, yep, it's stalled in my inbox. Sorry. I'll try it.
There was no more infill migrating off the field than previously observed. So either the little lip that is revealed by the removal of the turf is containing that, or the erosion control on the other side is doing the same job. We observed that the tape is in pretty good condition. There were some gaps and obvious breakage at points, but it's otherwise holding and preventing debris from getting into the drain system. Where there is a problem is with the removal of the rolled up field, the blades and such with the infill in them. They're taking those up over the berm at Summer Street onto like an 18-wheeler flatbed, and driving it away, they just stack them. The debris falls out, goes everywhere, and is a pretty heinous mess. They have a tarp down over the loading site, and Nathaniel and I watched them clean up that mess.
Hold on, I'll get a cable and try to download them.
And they did it like fastidiously. They cleaned it up and brought it back onto the field and so forth. I mean, they knew that we were there, granted, so there's that grain of salt to take with that news, but once it's on that truck and driving away, even when they're loading it on the truck, it's outside of our jurisdiction. And regrettably,
Is it spilling? So it's a flatbed truck. Is it being jostled enough to be spilling off the truck as it drives away?
yeah, I'm sure it is. And, you know, to be fair, we looked at the sort of roadside debris with the leaf litter and everything like that, and didn't notice that there was any tracking of the infill immediately when the truck starts moving. But I'm sure that once it gets up to speed, I mean, you hit 30 miles an hour, it's blowing off the truck and will eventually find a storm drain. It is very regrettable, and we don't have the jurisdiction to cover that part of it.
Can you talk to the town about that, you know, like engineering? Because anybody who works on a street or drive, they can't just have things flying off their truck, debris going into our storm drains. I understand it's not a Conservation Commission issue at that point, but isn't it a town engineering stormwater issue?
Yeah, and there too, where they're loading is on top of the nearest storm drain. And since they have that tarp down, it's protecting it from the spillage, like the immediate spillage. So they could still put in a silt sack to protect that drain. I think that's a reasonable ask.
Mm-hmm.
David, do we know where they're storing these rolls of old turf?
Yeah, Rockport, is that right? They go up
Rockland.
to Rockland.
They're going to a facility in
New
Rockland
facility.
that is fairly new, where they shake out the infill from the carpet and repurpose them. They call it recycling, but it's really repurposing. They sell it again.
So, you know, the thing that comes to mind, you and Nathaniel's out there, you're witnessing this. You have all the authority of the Conservation Commission. Did anyone tell them to put a silt sack in the storm drain and to clean the street after every day? Did that happen?
No, thought we would bring it back to you for an updated enforcement order if you wanted to pursue that.
Do we have jurisdiction over the street?
You have it over the storm drain. You can always ask them to clean the street. Those are pretty typical BMPs. I don't see an issue. I mean, they're dragging it out from storm drains connected to Millbrook or some part. It's going to go into some resource area somewhere. So that's not an issue. They shouldn't fight on either of those issues. I just think it could have been said, it could have saved, like it's, you know, a couple days. I don't know when you were out there today or yesterday.
We were out there this morning. I'd be happy to write the email and see if they can get it in before the weekend. Probably not even going to be around most of next week, so.
Well, if they sweep, then they don't have to get it in. But you know, those companies have those things just all over the place. So I'm not sure it's going to be a big issue as long as they're working tomorrow.
Nathaniel's got the photos.
That's the truck. Yeah, sorry, for some reason I can't advance my photos, so I'm gonna have to go one by one. But that shows the tarp under the truck. And then let me. I'm sorry, I'm on one screen, so I'm balancing. And I can show you a picture of the crumb rubber. Or sorry, not the crumb rubber, the tape. I think you can see some specks of maybe it's some little crumb rubber there. There was one shot when we did have it. But we did also notice this lip here. It's not showing well in this picture, but because during this stage of construction, there's a little lip here, which is keeping some of the crumb rubber from even getting over onto this portion. Are you guys still there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry, silence. I just thought, I wasn't sure if I lost my connection. Let me see if I
I
get
don't know.
another.
Any other discoveries? I think we get it that there was this loading method was not surgical. Like, so.
Yeah, I don't think we got a picture of that. Just we did check out the. Oh, I know what we checked out. We checked out the wattles that they put down. We also saw that they had refreshed that area. Where is it? I know I have a picture of it.
Are you talking about in our jurisdictional area over on that one end?
Yes.
Millbrook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Over by Millbrook. Yeah, here it
Right,
is.
they replaced the erosion control, not replaced, they put another one on top of the old erosion control, I think. At that, like, J shape that we required, the first enforcement order. Yeah.
Right there. So.
There are no additional plantings there yet, and we were.
What a
they were
lonely
expecting
piece of
once-
erosion control.
Say that again?
I said, what a lonely
Yes.
piece of erosion control.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all good. Well, just to speed things up, let's only talk about the problems. It looks like the erosion control looks good and the tape looked okay. How much field do they have still to remove?
It's all rolled up. It's nothing but gravel on the field now. So, I mean,
And all the rolls are gone, or all the rolls are still in the field?
no, I would say they might have finished that job today, depending how long it takes to get a truck up and back. They had what seemed to me to be around a truckload worth of old field left on the gravel. Would you agree, Nathaniel? I'm kind of shooting from the hip with that assessment.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's about right. There's definitely more gravel on the field than I was expecting, but I'm not overly familiar with that process.
All right, next steps. Are we satisfied with our enforcement order? Do you want to make any updates?
I think an email maybe from David telling him what David and Nathaniel saw today and what they were concerned about. I don't know that we want to update the enforcement order because if they're done removing the field, then updating the enforcement order, asking them to be more careful loading it on a flatbed is going to be moot because they're not doing that anymore.
Sure,
But
the
at
two
least tell them
updates.
we're concerned.
The two updates would be install a silt sack and sweep the street each day.
That might not be a bad idea anyway, because they're going to bring new
Yeah.
materials in.
Not with a leaf blower.
Seems to take care of your concern, silt sack and sweeping the street.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
So I would do that, but I would send an email also, David. Any other updates to the enforcement order that anyone can think of?
Chuck, this is a minor one, but I had asked if someone could be present when they install the new crumb rubber. I'd still like to see that. They never wrote back to me.
Sure. Do you want to get what's standard, David Morgan? 72 hours? Do you need something like 48 hours of notice before they're going to install? And you don't need to be there on the first piece, right, Brian? It's some section of it you'd like to be aware of.
Actually, the way it happens, Chuck, is they'll put down all the carpet first.
But in one
Then I
day?
think they'll bring the infill. They won't do it in pieces of carpet infill, in my experience.
Yeah, but the point is does it happen in one day? Should we go for 48 hours, 24 hours, 72 hours?
Oh, yeah, I don't know how they're planning to.
So just say 20, just let us know when they're, why don't you just take all time frames
Let
out
us,
of it and just say,
let us know when you're, yeah.
Reasonable notice.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Sounds like it. Can I, any more discussion, or can I get a motion to ratify the enforcement order for AC Arlington Catholic with those conditions? Yeah.
Are we updating it, or am I just putting that in an
I
email?
don't think we need to. We ratified it at the last meeting, right? And if we're not
Oh.
updating it, do we need to vote on it?
We were going to update it with
Right.
the two items, the street sweeping
Oh, I'm sorry.
and the
Okay.
silt sack. And I guess we're asking for notice too, so that might as well be thrown in there also. So
Sure, I'll make a motion to update the enforcement order with those items, 3 items.
Second.
great. That was Brian McBride. So Mike Gillisgame,
Yes.
Susan Chavnik,
Yes,
David White,
Yes,
Brian McBride,
Yes.
Nathaniel Stevens,
Yes.
and Chuck Tarani says yes. Okay. Updated. I
and
think an
Nathaniel,
email.
will you pictures be part of the record?
Yes, yeah. Yes,
You'll
I can
get
send
them
them.
somehow, send to David so they're part
Yeah,
of it.
I'm working on
Thank
that
you.
now. Yeah, and for 66R, I had to get them off my phone to be able to scroll through. So I think we're all
Gotcha.
set for 66R. But
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'll set. Yep.
David, I would recommend an email also, and the enforcement order. So
Will do.
catch him up on any work tomorrow if that's happening. Moving right along, we have an enforcement order for 66 and 66R Dudley Street along with 993 Mass Ave. And I guess there was a site visit today with Al Gala. I think Nathaniel and
Yeah.
David Morgan went.
That was
We
our
did
first
that.
stop.
Can we get a
So-
site visit report from one of you two?
Well, first thing you'll notice that Evelyn LaRusso, one of the owners, and Al, the engineer, are not here tonight. We discussed with them in the field, and they did not, they needed clarification from us about the amount of fill to be removed and the location, wanted to discuss some of the other considerations we've had in the past, like the mature trees remaining, so forth. So we said, come back on the December 4th meeting with a full plan, and Al is working on that. So Nathaniel, you want to drive with the photos?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. So something about if I'm in, oh no, here we go. Here are photos. Let me start with one of the last photos because that gives a better overall view. Here it is, I think. So this shows, nope, this is not a good photo. My apologies. Let's see if I can go to another photo. Yeah, this one captures most of the area that we were discussing. So there's a tree, big tree here, big oak tree. And so Al Gala has marked these trees on his plan. They're survey located, which is very helpful. So there's the big 3-part tree here, and there's this embankment here. And then I think this tree's on the other property, right, David? Oh no, this is the big tree here. Or there was another tree on that
the
direction.
larger tree
There it is right
just
here.
to the right. Yeah, there you go.
I think this is on the adjacent property.
Yep.
So this tree here. So the idea is, we discussed with them, the idea is to pull all this out in essentially this area here. As we discussed before, and we suggested, yes, moving this berm, lowering this berm down. It will unfortunately require removing those plantings, but we suggested just, once the area is graded out, that they propose a planting plan for this whole area, which would include replacement of those. Al talked about putting in so there's, if you may recall, I don't have a good picture of it. This is the top of a stone wall right here, if you can see my cursor. And so it just drops about 4 feet. So Al at first suggested again, protecting the root zone, so having the wall go around here and having a wall all the way here and then around here to protect the root balls. David and I suggested, well, okay to have a wall here and here to protect the root, but have it under David's feet here, more sloping up, so we get some even more compensatory flood storage, as much as we can on that. So he is going to revise his plan and include just he's going to have someone else actually specify the plantings, but he's going to indicate a planting area on there. So that's what I think those were all the photos we had.
So we're asking for a retaining wall.
No, we're not asking. That's what they proposed. Yeah, they just proposed around. So that way they can get as close as possible to the roots, because otherwise, if they slope down from the roots, my thinking at least was that we would lose more flood storage. If this is all just sloped, a big sloped sort of bowl, if it's, I guess, retaining wall to get the maximize the amount of flood storage, and then where it does it, where we don't need to retain necessarily anything, have it slope up towards the street. David, do you have anything more to add, or did I misstate anything?
I'm sorry, I had to step away. Can you hear the clarinet in the background?
A little bit, yeah.
I was going to ask them to stop, but they're actually outside of the office. They're rehearsing for an event that's here tonight. So sorry for the interruption.
No worries. So I don't know if you had anything more. So this to add, but this is one of the trees that's at issue, because again, we felt that the commission did not want to have this tree removed for compensatory flood storage, try to preserve it, but essentially he would move, have that stone wall come around it to protect allow the roots.
But they're cutting right there, right? So that's going to be
then,
4 feet down on one side of that tree ball, right?
I think so, yeah, and that's the issue about how far do they stay away from that tree. So that's where we need Kathy or other people to provide guidance. Or you just think
have an arborist at one point do an assessment of those trees? I thought that there was a recommendation from an arborist saying that we should stay clear of a certain area around the roots.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I remember that.
Okay.
It was a response to enforcement order months ago.
Yeah.
I don't think that's up to the Conservation Commission to evaluate how far the trees.
Yeah, they need to come up with that. Yeah.
They need to have some professional tell us where's a good spot.
No, but aren't you guys saying that's what they did? I don't think we had an arborist. I thought that one of you just said that they had an arborist.
Well, you just said that they're going to propose it, and we're going to need someone like Kathy to review it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Got it. Yeah. Yep.
And I was like, well, then we need a professional. They, in my opinion, was the applicants, and I don't think they're arborists. So, anyways, I get it now. It was an arborist recommendation, and we'll review. I get it. And that's what you're saying. I'm not I'm not in love with the retaining wall, but I guess if that's what it has to be, that's what it is.
I don't think it has to. I think Al was just proposing it because he felt that would provide most compensatory flood storage. Otherwise, you just have it slope down, and to have a reasonable grade, you're not going to have as much flood storage, right? If you're in a slope rather than cutting it out.
Yeah, unless you slope it so you meet the existing grades from wherever the end of the retaining wall was going to be, and then that's the toe of the slope, and the slope isn't back. You're not going to lose anything. He's going to lose usable space. But I'm willing to listen and review what Al Gala comes up with. You guys had done a site visit, so let's just see where that goes.
Anyone want to see any more pictures, or am I okay stopping?
Yeah, you're okay. Can you tell us what the stream, how the stream was? Was it full bank, or?
I didn't actually take a quick look at it. It looked like it was running fairly well, but
yeah,
I wouldn't say it was high. It wasn't dry. Yeah,
it wasn't high, but it was like typical bank full.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned that this plan isn't going to have enough storage for the amount of fill and the amount of impervious that's been added to the site. So we discussed, and I'm sorry if I missed this, 2-to-1 ratio for introducing impervious in the flood zone / fill in the flood zone. And this is floodway, of course, on top of floodplain, so multiple concerns at play. We'll wait and see what they come up with for calculations, and, you know, given past decisions and site conditions, there may not be sufficient room for 2-to-1.
Right.
I
And
think,
there's no requirement for 2-to-1 in an enforcement order. So, I mean, I thought the point was we were trying to get this to mimic existing conditions before it was
yeah,
filled. If they can
prior to,
do 2-to-1 or a little bit more than what was there, or get, and like you said, if you've given them direction to see what you can do, that might be, you know, that might work.
yeah. I was analogizing to say, like, if you had come to the commission with an NOI to perform all this work, what would have been required is 2-to-1. And, you know, thinking that that would be a good standard to meet with the enforcement, given that it's in the regs. But you make a good point, and also what I just said, I think we're on the same page that it's probably not feasible. But, you know,
Let's see what they come up with.
see
This
what
is
the numbers
probably a
are.
pretty expensive endeavor. I'm sure that's gonna take its toll, and losing the additional 2-to-1 land may, you know, it's the second, I don't know how to describe it, but a second, you know, slap or whatever you want to say, a second, you know, enforcement situation. I'd like to see what Al comes up with, and we can go from there, and then just realize that any improvement's an improvement. And again, we should go over when this all started to happen. I guess Nathaniel and Corey Beckwith, kind of, maybe those were the first story I heard about this. I think it was from Nathaniel, though. I don't know if that was 2013, 2007. I'm not sure. Nathaniel has his hand up.
Thanks. Yeah, 250. I think it was 2015. We discovered. I think we found some documents related to this before. But and I thought that we hashed this out a little bit already in terms of the prior history, and David had sort of mapped it out as best as he could in that, and I think we also agreed that we probably won't get exactly, you know, we're striving for as much compensatory flood storage as is practicable to balance that with allowing them to continue to use their property, especially the area behind the sheds on the east side. On that, I was just going to add for context, I think one reason why Al might have been pushing for the retaining walls is maybe the condo association said, you know, pull all your fill off of our property. That's something that she said to me one time when we were talking about the area. She's very concerned that it gets pulled back so they're off the condo association's property. So that might be a driving force behind Al recommending the wall. I don't know, but just for some context for you.
Susan has her hand up.
Thanks, Chuck. This has been going on so long that we forget things, so I'm looking at
Yes.
my files. On April 25th, 2024, we have a history of violations at 6666 Dudley, so that's a history. You know, things done back as far as 2012. So we do have a history. We went through that. We have it in writing in one of our communications. So just saying that for everybody. We also have in our communications in our history in 2024 estimations of how much fill was added based on David, and I think Nathaniel helped, you know, putting overlays on Google Maps to kind of see where the area was. So we have that as well in the project file from 2024. So I don't want to recreate the wheel. It's been going on so long, we forget what we have.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to check with David quickly if you found I found the sketch that we couldn't find earlier today. That we drew during a discussion of our meetings. David Morgan, this is the sketch I think I was thinking of.
I have a similar one, but it's like computer generated with overlays for where the activities took place.
I do remember that, yeah. But I think
Yeah.
this was the one I think we looked at that one and then came up with this. So that's just to refresh our recollection that
Nathaniel,
this is
what
the
are those
area we
two?
discussed
Yeah.
about. So
Can you explain, you have a red line that's closer to the brook than the one that's further back. What's in between?
I think that just may have, because I think we decided that we couldn't cut up the easement area. We couldn't, I think originally we drew maybe something like this. I think it was due partly to my annotation skills or lack thereof in Zoom, that one of those lines probably should have been deleted. But I think we were trying to indicate that the drainage easement is here, so they couldn't mess with that. And then I think we were trying to say, get as far back here as possible, maybe slope down. That's what this is.
So even with Al Gallo's plan, he's gonna be restricted
To
to
the
the
east,
easement, yeah,
yeah, by that. So that's why we were trying to suggest up in this area.
that one
So
section.
I think, yeah. So I think Al's plan is generally following this. But David Morgan, let me know if you need a copy of this because I have it handy.
Thanks. I think he does have a good grasp of it. It's very close to what you just showed, and I think it's a very good point about the easement because we think there is a drain or a pipe under there.
Okay. Is that it for the update? I just want to add one
Update
more
ended.
thing.
Yep.
Not to this update, but just to, the commission's here, just to also remind you that 993 Mass Ave, the condo has another area that needs to be looked at by the Conservation Commission. It's on Dudley Lane. And on Dudley Lane, I think what happened is they disturbed an area. They may have done some fill, but we're gonna have to look at that as soon as we're finished this here. So these two are connected by the brook, by 993 Mass Ave, but the 660 people, 660R, they're not part of that other one. So just so you know.
Yeah, David and I did look over at it today. We saw they do have fencing up now along that.
Did the trucks move, or is it still being used as parking?
I saw maybe one truck, but I didn't see a lot of trucks.
Did it look like it was parking area?
This is for the 40B project, right? Or is this the big new building? Or is no, this is the condo
No, this is
association.
just down the street. It's Dudley Place Lane or something like that. David,
That.
Oh, no, that's different than what we looked at.
We weren't looking there today.
Chuck,
But
do you want to
there's-
set up a site visit for that?
I think we want to get rid of this first because this is mostly 66 and 66R, but we would want to do a site visit. We would want to see what's going on, and we do want to be fair. You know, I think that this is just down a little bit. I don't know how we found this, but we did. It did come up.
I'm sorry,
And
what's the address again? You're saying this is on Dudley Lane?
it's like Dudley Lane. So if you go towards
I'm Googling it.
the town DPW department
Yeah,
and you go up the first road on the right, is that it? I think somehow it was clear in the aerial.
First Street on the right. So where their barbecue barn was? No, that's where
Yeah.
the
David,
new
any chance you can put up an
facility.
aerial of this area? Can help us all out?
Open our GIS. I think it is the barbecue barn, and I think that they wanted to add parking at the back of
No, it's not the
that
barbecue barn.
facility. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Whichever it actually is, they
one
wanted
of
to add
the site visits we walked down there, and Mike, you might have been with us that day. my recollection.
Dudley Street Place. So this is
Oh,
the
that,
next
okay.
Here's their
street
property right
over.
here.
I
That's
mean,
been filled and turned into parking.
Oh, okay. No, we were so astounded by the size of the self-storage unit. I think it we were in awe. We didn't look at
Like
anything else.
mosquitoes to a light.
Yeah, yeah, totally. My God.
Yeah, so anyways, that's what we want to also address. As you can see, it's been filled. There's parking
Oh,
there.
wow, okay.
The condo knows about it. I guess they leased it to them,
yeah,
allowed them to do this.
Oh, wait, yeah, it's the same condo building for 6,
Yeah.
okay. The other property goes over. All right. Yeah, can you click on the 2012 aerial imagery, David Morgan, just to see what that layer? It's still some parking there.
I'll see if I can go farther back on
Google
Near
Earth.
Map.
Oh, near map, yeah. Oh, you do have near map. Good to know.
Yeah, it's a recent thing our GIS director procured. Had
Oh,
it
good.
6 or 8 months maybe.
For those who don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's a private subscription-only service of aerial photos, and it's much more frequent. I think, don't they update like practically weekly or something? Not that much, but I don't know.
And we get at least 2-3 times a year.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good
I'm
tool.
sure there are higher levels of subscription. You could get it to the minute if you wanted.
Yeah, send a plane up. I need a picture.
This takes a little while, so if you want me to look into this and report back, I'm happy to do so.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to know what it. Obviously, that's within the inner riverfront. Maybe the site visit is what kind of led us to our understanding that there was fill there and whatnot. Nothing like boots on the ground to see what was going on. But that's something that needs to be looked into also. And it may be something that can be explained by just going back and seeing its historic parking area. But my recollection was it needed to be corrected. So. Okay, want to move on? I think we're good with this. So we're gonna actually start our updates now. We have Water Bodies Working Group with David White.
Okay. Water bodies, Spy Pond. We have approved some work at Spy Pond Park for native plant restoration. And that's also, so it's costing about $3,000 to do that. So we approved doing that for Spy Pond Park. It's a bank and native plant restoration. Mass
So
DEP.
where's that money? Where's that money coming from?
Water Bodies Fund.
The Water Bodies Fund. Great.
It's a small amount, and the Friends of Spy Pond Park are doing a larger amount. They're putting 4,500 into the pot for that one.
Any other updates from the Water Bodies Working Group?
Yeah, a few more here. Okay. So Mass DEP is currently evaluating Spy Pond Park for water quality matters, and there's a public meeting on December 12th at the Robbins Library to discuss their findings. It's basically nutrients and not plants, but that's in the works as well. And,
The likely upshot of that is a TMDL
yes,
for Spy Pond and also area ponds. So they're looking, I think, at one in Winchester and then in Belmont where Spy Pond outlets to. Is that, does anybody remember the name of that pond?
it's a little
Little
pond,
pond, yeah.
little river, little river.
Yeah. Oh, we'll find out later,
It's a
but
little river, yeah.
yeah, it could be that one.
I think it's Mud Pond or Muddy Pond or something.
Hmm.
Also, there was a fishing line entanglement at Spy Pond, an eastern screech owl,
Oh,
which was actually recovered and rehabilitated. So it's a happy ending story, but it's still ongoing.
Yeah,
And
let's
also,
call it. Is that the entanglement story? Is there any more fishing line? Because if not, I want to add something to that.
well, I was going to say that there's still fishing line lying about, and the fishing line receptacles have been knocked down in some places. So there's still fishing line issues around our water bodies. Want to say something about that?
Yeah, so me and Susan have been working behind the scenes to get some talk time, FaceTime with the select board, talking to different members and reaching out to Jim Finley and Diane Mahan. And it's, we haven't been receiving feedback, but it hasn't been something that we can act on. They're basically saying it's not their responsibility. They've looked to town council to let them know that it's not their responsibility. And they've given no direction for us to come in and talk to the select board about it. They don't believe it's their jurisdiction. So we are left with this problem and left with it without the help of the select board and not even being able to present it to the select board. Although Jim says that there was a presentation made by Susan and others, but that was just during Citizens Open Forum. And my understanding of that is you can say something, but it's not a dialogue. And so the hope is that the select board are moved enough to put it on a future agenda, and that hasn't happened.
And it
So we
wasn't a
kinda-
presentation, that's wrong. I made
Yeah,
a
yeah, they
comment
just
in
get
the
like 2
public
minutes or
comment
something.
section. Yeah.
So we're a little lost for words from that response and want to know what to do because this continues. I mean, we might as well talk about it here. I know that we've talked about sending another letter, maybe ratcheting that up a bit, trying to get some acknowledgement that there is a serious problem out in the ponds in Arlington. But right now we're not we're batting zero, less than 500, and an email just came in from Laura Kessel,
Yes.
Susan Grossman, and they're just letting us know that any of that fishing tackle, you know, equipment that was supposed to be used to keep the line out of the water a few of them are down, and they just send pictures to the select board.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's not seems like the solutions are a little bit tough. So Susan, what in your
one
opinion,
thought.
like you talked about next steps. So sorry, David, go ahead.
So one thought, we might take it public as a warrant article town meeting.
That's what I was going to suggest. Yeah, you might not get anywhere, but let's
At least
public
raise the
forum,
awareness.
raising the awareness.
Mm-hmm. And what would the warrant article be? To do what?
Well, one would be a resolution, maybe saying make it a town policy. Something more aggressive would be prohibiting, just outright voting to prohibit it at prohibit the fishing at Hills Pond, or put a moratorium to study the issue.
And who's going to enforce that?
Well, that's an issue, but it depends how aggressive you want to be. I think
It's also other ponds as well, so it's a general fishing line problem, not
Right.
just Hills Pond.
Though we were focusing on Hills Pond because it's such a small pond, so we thought that it was more impaired by this than the other ponds, which are also impaired, but they have more area to recover. But yeah, I hear
I
you.
would just, I add that, that little pond of Hills Pond had 4 receptacles for fishing line and 4 signs. And a couple of them that I noticed are down, just lying on the ground. And
Yeah.
I didn't notice any entanglement of any, fishing line in the trees around the pond. So that's, I guess, a little bit of good news.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
Jim,
because the pond was closed
Pond was
Yeah,
closed
Jim.
for a while.
due
Well,
to
that may
algae.
be, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and it's also because Jim let me know that there was some trimming going on up there, so the trees were trimmed in that area, and maybe that's helped out a little bit. So it's not like things haven't happened. So,
I have one other question about Hills Pond. There's a lot of heavy construction machines in the back lawn area, and I'm just
That's the
wondering
park.
what the schedule is for that.
Yeah.
yeah, David Morgan, this is you. Have you conducted a site visit? Are they in compliance? Are they parking outside the 100-foot buffer zone? Is there erosion control in place?
The answer to all of that is yes. Recognizing that there are conflicting questions in there. When we visited, Jackie and I, for the kickoff meeting, so to speak, they were parking outside of where they should be with an excavator and bobcat, things like that. So I pointed out to them where the 100-foot line was, and they were to keep on the other side of that tree. He actually moved the vehicle at the end of our meeting to the other side of the tree so that he would know, future reference, this is where it stays. So I haven't been over in, I don't know, when was that, Jackie? 2 weeks ago. They finished work at Parallel Park with the same contractor, opened that, and then came back and began at Menominee Rocks. So I haven't been there since. They've been actively working, but they did have erosion controls up, well more than was stated on the plans. They had fencing as well, largely I think to keep like dogs and kids out of the area, but it is very well protected. And they had tree protections up. There was only one issue, I think, with the whole site visit, and that was that there were some exposed roots from one of the trees, and the tree protections didn't extend to around the exposed roots, so I requested that they move that tree protection out to cover the roots. They're dealing with pretty light machinery as things go on this job. I mean, there's just not the room to get anything back there owing to the number of trees, and they only have one access point, so they can pretty much only go up the path that's already like a stone dust path there, and then kind of down the back to the playground area.
David,
Do you
what's
plan
the
on
schedule?
checking it? Sorry, do you plan on checking it again?
Yeah,
I don't know if
definitely.
it's been 3 weeks or whenever it started, but
We need to
maybe.
collect another water sample from Hills Pond to confirm the preliminary results, which is that the harmful algal bloom is in fact already dead. So we can put eyes on it as soon as we do that, which could be tomorrow.
It'd be clear, okay.
And then what's the construction schedule?
I mean, they're just trying to get it done before snow flies, so I doubt that they're going to be able to do that. I think we're probably looking at a spring finish date. We're going to have to secure the site and wait a couple of months.
All right, I see Brian McBride's hands up.
Oh, just a quick question, or maybe a comment that when we had talked with the PRC last, they had talked about delaying the planting of some of the trees around this, I guess it was a swale of some kind. I just wanted to see that we encourage them to do that sooner rather than later before they close the plant out and run out of money.
So I remember they were already out of money, and they said that that would need to wait till a second phase during their NOI application. And we
Yeah.
conditioned it anyway, so it is enforceable. But I haven't heard further about the funding situation. I mean,
Yeah, they certainly won't get CPA money in the coming round, so that puts it up 18 months or something.
yeah,
Just want to keep our eyes on it, that's all.
yeah, that's a good point.
Back to fishing line, maybe.
Sure.
There's also fishing line at the reservoir and the trees, some trees at the reservoir. So it's all around town in various fishing areas. So I think we should think about trying to maybe talk to people about a warrant article and get people involved in moving that forward, I think.
Sounds like that's a new idea, and it sounds like a good idea. So let's work on that. All right, David, do you have anything else to report?
Let's see here. We said there should be some sort of celebration this spring for Menominee Brook, sort of opening event. And annual report is in process.
Okay. All right, thank you. Brian McBride, do you have a CPA committee report?
Yeah, just a couple sentences, Chuck. So David and I have been chatting about how to manage the submissions given the shortage of CPA money versus the demand this year, and kicking around a couple ideas. We're still planning to submit something for the projects that we talked about upgrading the Conservation Commission properties, but also trying to work within the request from CPA to reduce expenses or spread them out over a couple of years. David, I don't think we have any answers yet. I just wanted to alert folks that that was kind of ongoing.
All right, thank you.
I
I
can
guess we'll
share
hear.
a little bit more about relevant projects if you want, but they're not explicitly under Concom's umbrella. So if you'd rather wait for an update, or I can email something, whatever you feel like.
It's up to the commission. Anyone interested in non-conservation projects?
If it's quick, I'd like to hear it because it's probably related to environmental, not if it's not wetland, right?
Yeah, and in fact, one is Cook's Hollow, which is a Concom property. So
Yeah, that is Concom in a way.
yeah, so Cook's Hollow is the top priority for funding this winter. I will advance a CPA proposal that is 10% of the cost of that project, $140,000, and seek to use that as a match for an MVP grant. And I've submitted an expression of interest to say that that is something we'd like to fund. They almost approved us for that last time, so now that we have permits in hand and shovel ready, I think they would be even more willing.
That's a great idea because it's a perfect MVP project with the right next to the brook flooding. Yeah.
Yep. And 21 Pond Lane, I'm also going to put in for a smaller amount for that one, but I will also pursue one of the new biodiversity grants from the state, Republic Garden of Native Species, and habitat restoration basically, and also seeks CDBG money for that one because it's in fact in a census tract. We thought it was out. Got clarity on that today. Another one that is relevant to the commission is the stairs at 17 Mill Street going up to the bike path. The commission put those in decades ago, and I am going to submit to CPA only for fixing those because it is an absolute hazard.
That would be awesome. I
yeah.
try to walk up and down there with my grandkids from the bike path, and you can't even get there. You can't even do it anymore.
Is there a
No,
railing
it's-
there too or not?
I think there's still, at least on part of the stairs.
There's an old kind of like, there's a steel bar that's,
Or, yeah,
yeah.
And we're sure that that's town land and not the responsibility of the condos?
Yep.
Hope. Okay,
Yeah,
so much for that.
I know.
maybe
That had been my previous bet.
MBTA land, maybe.
It is MBTA land for sure, and we may need to seek their approval for that. The extension of this project is Garden 250, a native planting along the bikeway between Water and Mill Streets, or I should say Mystic and Mill Street. That also involves the little pocket of Concom land over by Buzzell Field, and we're considering a couple of different places to fund that, but none of the above sources really are a good fit for it. So that one might need to take the back burner for this round. Then, of course, Brian already mentioned the CPA one for Meadowbrook Park in Window on the Mystic, and that one we'll put in for some fraction of the proposed amount, like he said.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's a lot.
All right, so yeah, I guess that was good. Moving on, we have tree committee update. Sarah Alfaro Franco.
Okay, so they had a meeting, tree committee had a meeting yesterday. And although the tree warden was not able to attend, he submitted a written report. And from that, they reported that the DPW has planted 150 trees, street trees, and they are working on a backlog of tree removals and pruning. And also they mentioned, which I believe I already mentioned last month, that about 20 trees were lost in the from the cool corridor. 180 have survived, and the plan is to replant those 20 in 2026. Some members of the tree committee met with the public directors, Mike Rademacher, and there was a discussion about improving contractor watering arrangements for future projects. And the proposal is for developers to pay into a fund that will then provide dollars for town contract to water those trees for 3 years versus developers trying to provide that support. And this is to address a problem that's been happening, that once the contractor is paid, the trees were not getting watered. And David, did you have a question?
I was going to comment on something else. Go continue your story.
Yeah. That's about from my notes. Jackie, was there anything else you think I may have missed? Jackie was there.
Yeah, that was the main thing on my mind. Yeah, that we went over a lot, but yeah, that's the only thing I really took a lot of notes on. So
Yeah, that's what okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Sarah. David, did you have something else to say?
I said they had a major project at Window in the Mystic this Sunday with a lot of volunteers moving the basic plants, led by Army Group and some scouts from Boston. So there's stewards at work in Arlington on conservation lands. I provide pictures if you like, but it's still ongoing.
I was wondering what those garbage bags were up at the curb when I drove
Yeah,
by.
basic plants.
Right. Good.
All right, Nathaniel Stevens, and
I'm just wondering, we're approaching the end of the year. Do we have a calendar for our meetings for next year? They're not, I don't remember.
Jackie developed it last week. And,
okay.
I looked at it, I think that it looks good. The one remaining piece is comparing with the town's recommended holiday avoidance schedule, or calendar, I should say, so.
Okay.
And Jackie already flagged a number of the major ones, so we're looking at that closely.
Okay.
So will we have that as an agenda item for our next meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'd be good to get it on our calendars. I'm noticing already January the 1st is a Thursday, so I assume we're not meeting on the 1st because town hall will be closed. So seems like that month we're probably going to be the 2nd and 4th. Just
I
guessing.
hope not. I hope not. But
Hope not the 2nd and 4th, or hope not meeting on the 1st.
this is when I meet in Reading. I meet on the 2nd and the 4th, so
Oh.
that's two meetings in a row.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good to know.
Let's just see if it was a meeting like tonight and we didn't have to get, I mean, it's possible that we wouldn't have to have the meeting. I think that's the first option. Second, yeah, I mean, 2nd and 4th is where it's going to have to be. So
Yeah, there was
we'll
also an
see.
issue with the Juneteenth and July 4th weekends. I thought we shouldn't meet on the Thursday night before those weekends.
Agreed. Yeah, probably a good plan.
All right,
And
but let's
also,
discuss it when they,
Yeah.
in January, there are 5 Thursdays, so we can figure something out.
yeah. All right, David, that's going to be on our next agenda. That's good to know. All right, seeing no hands, so I had on my list, Recreation Committee update. David, you're meeting with Natasha, I presume daily, but
Hourly.
do we have an update, or is there anything to update us on?
Yeah, the ongoing invasive removal permit concern, they have a process that they're willing to put in front of Park and Rec, and Park and Rec would likely support this. I'm fine with it. It's, necessary for their procedures or whatever, and so it is a reasonable permission slip, I guess. There is one hang-up, which is removal, just like you indicated at Window on the Mystic is still an issue. Like, they bagged up those invasives long ago, and they're still sitting there. And we asked Charlotte Milan, who does our trash and recycling coordination, what is the status now that we have a new trash hauler? And her response was, we need to figure something else out. There's no reliable way to really deal with this problem. And the volume really only increases, and the problem persists, of course. So, like, the invasives persist, so we need a reliable disposal method. We talked about getting a dumpster. I'm not sure what that costs on like an annual basis or a seasonal basis to have a dedicated place to dispose of invasives, or if there are other options. But starting to research that, it's on my shoulders now.
David White.
I think a dumpster might be the simplest solution because it's used other places as well, especially in Lexington for land stewards work. They have a dumpster that the stewards dump stuff into and it's hauled away. So I mean that's probably easier than having the trash hauler deal with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll ask Karen Mullins, directs conservation over there, to let me know what they pay for it and how they arrange for it and such. That's a helpful tip, David. Thank you.
Nathaniel Stevens.
Thanks. David Morgan, my recollection, I was at the Park and Rec meeting when they were talking about getting an application form together, and I thought that one of the gists of that conversation was that we were going to, Park and Rec and Conservation Commission was going to develop a single form for people to sign so they could present it to both bodies. in case, if it was on Park and Rec land, but, within resource area or something like that. So I don't know if I don't know if that's no longer needed, but I didn't want that to get lost in translation because I think folks thought that was a good idea.
That is a good idea. I haven't heard it discussed since that meeting.
Okay.
I
well,
think what the
glad I
problem
brought it up.
is Park and Rec has wants tighter control than what we do in the Conservation Commission. So David, it's my understanding that you did share with them our form that's administrative approval through David for invasive control. And they want something more than that. That's my
Oh, okay.
understanding. David, you could tell me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely part of it. They have different qualifications that they want to review and so forth. Ours is more statutory, so that we're like doing our due diligence under the act and bylaw and stuff. I don't know that they can be made all that parsimonious, but generally speaking, it's a very light lift for anybody who wants to do invasive removal on Concom lands. It's a couple sentences. It is a stupid additional piece of paper, just added red tape, but it is nonetheless one of those things we kind of need to do, and better to have record of it.
and also you get a face-to-face with the people who are doing it. So it's not like you're just letting anybody go and rip things up that they don't know what the plants are.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
talking to the
Connection there,
people
yes.
from, Elaine Crowder, who runs the Army group, who trains them on what is garlic mustard, et cetera, right? So that's a form of monitoring as well. You're not just going to let anybody sign this piece
Your
of paper.
liaisoning,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's an important part of the Park and Rec process too. Like, they will ensure that folks have proper training, and in that way, I mean, the specific connection here is that they'll be considered Concom land stewards, and only those folks will be allowed to work on Park and Rec properties doing invasive removal. And we've been able to sort of build up that capacity through Army. They work under the Land Stewards umbrella, helping with the Pink Plants program and things like that. They also provide training and expertise and so forth. So, like, it's not me and Jackie out there pulling knotweed or bittersweet or whatever and saying, this is how you do it, but a group of experienced people training other people. And so it sort of formalizes the relationship between Concom and Park and Rec, if they are to approve this procedure.
So do we need to see the procedure then? Because are you going to use this on Concom land too, or we're keeping our own procedure?
We're keeping our own.
Okay.
They just want the
I
certification, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the idea was that both boards would keep their own procedures, but just have one form, because I mean there is some commonality. Both, name, application, who's doing it, contact information, but also more importantly, like where on the Conservation Commission land or where on the Park and Rec land.
Well,
And
what plants they
there's definitely some commonalities, and I think it was also to try to signal to people right up front with a common application that, look, you've got to go to both boards. So it's not just going to Concom just because you're a land steward. You need to also go to Park and Rec because it's their land. So I think that that was part of it too. So
Yeah, I don't know if David can
Yeah.
raise that again, or
Yeah.
we lost that
right.
Oh, no,
because
I
they
still
want their
can.
own procedure.
They,
Yeah.
they do want their own procedure. I think they would be fine with like a little section, on the last page that says, like, if you're on Concom land, this is the section to complete.
Right.
And just make it a streamlined
Yeah.
application.
Yeah, something like that. So
So-
again, trying to make it,
Suggest it.
trying to cut down the red tape for these people, for land stewards who are trying to do something beneficial to the town and not get caught in all this red tape.
but identify what they're planning to do.
Well, I think then we need to review it. I mean, I would like to see it. Not that we need to vote on it or anything, but I mean, I guess I trust your judgment, David, on what it includes, but I don't know if it would be helpful for us to weigh in.
Just realize you'll be disappointed and then you'll be all set.
Okay.
What did you have for breakfast today?
Yeah.
Really? Really?
I think in this
That's a
case,
bit of
it's actually,
negativity,
you know,
yeah.
I know the expectations, but the procedure is reasonable. It's not administratively burdensome for
Good.
them
Good.
or us or the applicants. I
Good.
think
Good.
generally speaking, it's like something that we would have designed ourselves, but, you know, just for a
We
different
didn't need to, yeah.
set of priorities.
Mhm. Yeah, sounds good. Okay.
All right. That was great. Seems very, I think the first almost conclusion I've heard since you and Natasha have started talking. So I'm glad that we've been setting this up. Okay, so the last thing on my list that David doesn't know about, and I'm sure there's not much of an update, but can you give us a little bit more on the budget? Have you, I know you submitted the form at our last meeting. We went for something like $2,500. And any updates on that? It was from Julie
Yeah, Julie Wayman,
Waisman.
I did, you're right, I did submit it. I haven't heard anything else. I mean, I think it's going into a pile of all of the other, however many dozen boards and committees that we have, and they'll review it in due time. I mean, they need to do it for town meeting, really, is this final say so. So there are miles to go, I think. I'd be happy to follow up and just see, like, what does the procedure look like, or timeline for making decisions about what to advance, anything like
Right.
that.
What the Conservation Commission needs to do, if anything, if we need to go to the Finance Committee and talk this up.
Yeah. Okay.
So maybe that can be on our next meeting also. All right, so that's the end of my agenda, and we already had taken care of our hearing, but I see that there are a few people here. So if anyone's who attended our meeting that has any questions, please raise your hand.
Or comments,
And
whatever.
we'll call on you for comments, questions and comments. Seeing none, any further questions or comments from the commission, any to-dos for our next meeting? Susan has a curious smile on her face. I'm wondering what's going on.
No, I'm just happy we're finishing way before 9 o'clock. Our next meeting is December 4th, is that correct?
2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yeah,
Right.
happy Thanksgiving,
Thanksgiving.
and
holiday.
let's have a vote to adjourn.
So
Someone.
moved.
Bruce, I agree.
All right, just wave your
Yay.
hand in agreement. Thanks, everyone. Good
Yeah.
night.
Good
Happy
night.
Good night.
Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye.
Night.